on Cronkite News, the governor signs several bills into law, including the 15-week abortion ban and 2 impacting transgender children.
Plus, why a growing number of Cuban migrants are making their way across the border. We take a look at the wave of travelers heading to Yuma.
And how electric vehicles can improve the air quality and overall public health here in the Valley.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Molly Hudson.
And I'm Mia Marquez. Thank you for joining us. Governor Doug Ducey signed new laws into effect today, affecting abortion accessibility for Arizonans and topics regarding transgender individuals. Senate Bill 1138 delays irreversible gender reassignment surgeries until the individual is 18 years old. The bill does not prohibit puberty-blocking hormones or other hormone therapy. Senate Bill 1165 requires all Arizona public schools and private schools that compete against them to designate interscholastic athletic teams based on biological sex of the students participating. Ducey said in a letter this ensures biological athletes would have, quote, a level playing field to compete. Senate Bill 1164 prohibits a physician from performing abortion after 15 weeks gestation, except in medical emergency. Ducey also signed House Bill 2492, which requires federal-only voters to provide documentary proof of citizenship. The bill says county recorders must reject voter registration applications without proof of citizenship. Ducey signed 21 bills today total. We caught up with the governor at the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations' 17th Annual International State of the State. John Brown was there and tells us how the governor responded when asked about the new legislation.
The event at a downtown Phoenix hotel drew a few hundred people there to hear Governor Ducey speak about economic and international relations. Some of this was overshadowed by the announcement about the new legislation he signed today. The luncheon, sponsored by the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations, included a Q&A with the governor and remarks on Arizona's economy. After the event, the governor answered questions from the press who asked specifically about the impact of the legislation he signed today.
Protect children, it's going to protect life, it's going to protect female sports, and it's going to protect the vote. So, and we've got more to do. After we're done with this gaggle, I'm eager to get back to the office so I can sign the legislation to end the health emergency.
When asked about why he signed the 15-week abortion ban bill, Governor Doug Ducey said he is pro-life and supports pro-life legislation. In the newsroom, John Brown, Cronkite News.
As the governor just mentioned, he ended the COVID-19 declaration of emergency today, effective immediately. That ends the AZDHS coordination of the state's response to the public health crisis. Today, Arizona reached 2 million reported COVID-19 cases across the state. This comes just 6 months after the state reached 1 million reported cases. The number of reported infections slowed, but experts still warn that the disease is here to stay. To help COVID-19 prevention efforts, the Biden administration launched a one-stop coronavirus website for information. The website can be found at covid.gov. Americans will be able to find access to tests, vaccines, and treatments along with updates on infection rates. Biden says this is the next step in his administration's fight against COVID-19. In a briefing today, Biden asked Congress to act now to provide more funding to support COVID-19 prevention tactics.
We need to secure additional supply now. We can't wait as we find ourselves in the midst of another surge to act. It'll be too late. And we also need this funding to continue our efforts to vaccinate the world.
Biden received his second booster shot today in front of the press, a day after the FDA approved the shot for Americans 50 and older.
Arizona has joined 21 other states in a lawsuit to end the nationwide requirement for face masks on airplanes and public transportation. The complaint was submitted in federal court in Tampa, Florida. It argues that the mandate exceeds the authority of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Since February of last year, the CDC required masks covering the nose and mouth for people using public transportation. The lawsuit seeks to permanently ban enforcement of the mandate now that the COVID-19 risk has been steadily declining across the nation. A new tracking survey found President Biden is facing his lowest job approval rating in Arizona since he took office. The survey done by OH Predictive Insights found only 40% of Arizona voters give the president positive marks. 55% of voters disapprove of his job performance. Nearly 3 in 5 independent Arizona voters don't approve of Biden's performance. The Arizona Public Opinion Pulse surveyed 753 Arizona registered voters from March 7, 2022 to March 15, 2022. The survey also found Biden is facing negative numbers on nearly every issue affecting our country right now, including his handling of COVID-19, the economy, and uniting the country. The number of migrants crossing the border into the United States via the Yuma sector is increasing. Cronkite News reporter Andrea Villalobos explains why Cuban migrant numbers entering through San Luis, Arizona increased.
In November, President Ortega of Nicaragua announced he was lifting visa requirements for Cubans traveling through the country. Now, a wave of travelers are heading to Yuma through Nicaragua. As you can see, previously, Cuban migrants were needed to travel to Miami, and that was the easiest way that they could travel into the United States. But however, now, since the requirement has been lifted from Nicaragua, now they have their choice of either entering through Honduras or El Salvador, eventually heading into Mexico, now getting into Yuma, likely contributing to that increase in the numbers. Alma Mendoza visits the southern border twice a month, delivering food and clothes. Last weekend, she visited Yuma for the first time and witnessed a large number of migrants.
They were crying and they were calling their family and they were saying, "Oh, we made it, we are in the United States."
She recorded these images herself of migrants surrendering to Customs and Border Protection agents and took this photo of the National Guard.
There were so many people from Cuba, and what they were telling us, it's so hard to come here to the United States.
CBP reports that in the 2020-21 fiscal year, about 15,000 Cuban migrants crossed through the Yuma sector. However, in the 2022 fiscal year, which started in October, nearly 20,000 crossed this border, a 33% increase from last year's total. Yet, only 5 months of the fiscal year have passed so far.
In Cuba, there's a lot of misery, and the dictatorship doesn't allow you to thrive. There is no growth, no food, no medicine.
Nobel Kessel is a nurse from Cuba living in Phoenix. He feels Nicaragua's policy of not requiring visas for Cubans is a contributing factor to the increase of Cuban migrants.
They head to that country, and they don't come back anymore.
As for Mendoza, what she saw at the border broke her heart and encouraged her to continue her mission of helping migrants.
Here in this country, we have everything, and somebody here for somebody say we don't know what is a candy is make you so sad.
Information from CBP about March's numbers have not been released yet, but according to volunteers at the border, hundreds of migrants have been seen entering the country. At the Google touchscreen, Andrea Villalobos, Cronkite News.
This month, the Biden administration reached a settlement with conservation groups who filed suit against the Trump administration's border wall. The agreement stops the use of military funds for border wall construction. It also requires a study to assess environmental damage caused by the construction of the wall and to pay for efforts to repair any damage done. The Center for Biological Diversity's Endangered Species Program says the settlement is welcome news, but a lot of damage has already been done.
A recent report from the American Lung Association shows that transitioning to electric vehicles may improve the air quality here in the valley. We take a closer look at what this means for Arizona's public health coming up.
And Waymo announced it will expand its self-driving vehicles here in the valley.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities. How do you think that, as the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives.
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Waymo announced it is expanding driverless vehicle rides to downtown Phoenix. The company announced updates for its fully autonomous vehicle rides with no human behind the wheel in San Francisco and expanded operations to Phoenix. The rides will be open to Waymo employees only, with hopes to open up to trusted testers in the future. $1.2 trillion in health benefits. That's how much a nationwide transition to electric vehicles and zero-emission electricity by 2050 would generate. That's according to the American Lung Association's newest report released today. Cronkite News' Autria Maneshny tells us how this transition could benefit the state.
According to the American Lung Association, Phoenix ranks 5th for unhealthy ozone conditions. But the good news is the report says that a transition to electric vehicles can help avoid deaths and asthma attacks and also bring significant benefits to lower-income communities.
The Zeroing In Unhealthy Air report ranks Phoenix and Mesa, 21 out of 25 U.S. metropolitan areas, that would benefit the most from a transition to electric vehicles, particularly when it comes to public health.
In Arizona, this would mean $15.1 billion in public health benefits, about 1,300 avoided deaths, over 38,000 avoided asthma attacks.
Ramos says greenhouse gas emissions continue to increase climate change, leading to warmer temperatures, bad ozone conditions, and dangerous pollutants from frequent wildfires. These air pollutants are dangerous for everyone, even healthy individuals.
It also increases our susceptibility to respiratory infections like pneumonia. All of this can result in increased likelihood for ER visits and hospitalizations.
Electric vehicles are one solution to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. However, making the switch to electric vehicles has been slow, due in part to the lack of charging infrastructure, vehicle price, and overestimates of maintenance cost. But electric vehicles can be cheaper to own compared to a gas vehicle.
Also, once it's up and running, you don't have oil changes, you don't replace the brakes and all of that. So there's kind of some additional costs, there that are reduced that you may not see when there's that initial price tag.
And Cornell hopes that when people learn about the consequences of air pollution, they'll switch to an electric vehicle.
Where it's tough to have an image on TV of like someone being injured by or killed by air pollution, but that doesn't mean it's any less bad than some of these other tragedies.
The consequences are particularly high for communities of color and lower income, according to last year's State of the Air report. A person of color in the United States is up to 3 times more likely to breathe unhealthy air when compared to their white counterparts, and lower income families face the brunt of air pollution burdens because of their location.
A lot of these times, these families are living near highways, ports, warehouses, and other transportation hubs, and they do face a greater health risk.
The hope is that switching to electric vehicles will benefit all Arizonans.
I think we can build a charging infrastructure too, hopefully with that kind of environmental justice element, social justice, where we're actually making sure that all the chargers aren't just going to Scottsdale, and we're putting street parking in throughout the valley, and we're putting it in areas to make things more accessible.
The report outlines many recommendations, including state incentives to build charging stations, changing over public fleets to making it more electric vehicles, and also establishing state standards to reach 100% of sales in electric vehicles. In Phoenix, Autria Maneshny, Cronkite News.
After the rain yesterday, Phoenix has clear skies today. Peyton Major is in the Weather Center now with what the rest of your week will look like.
Clear skies out your window right now, 78 degrees and sunny. We're looking at 202 facing west, a 41-degree dew point here, which means pretty dry air still, and 3 miles an hour wind gusts slightly from the southwest. While it's calm here, it's not so calm out there in the east. We have a textbook mid-latitude cyclone that's going to be bringing severe weather to the southern portions of the U.S. tonight and into tomorrow. But as we enter this weekend, high pressure will build back in out here over the west. Highs tomorrow, 82 in Phoenix, 80 in Tucson and the high country. We're looking at 60s and 50s, 54 in Flagstaff and 85 in Yuma and Gila Bend. Lows tomorrow, we will wake up in Phoenix in the 50s, 57 in the freezing temperatures, 30 degrees there in Flagstaff, 57 in Yuma, and 50 degrees in Tucson. While we've had a wet couple days the last few days, it's not been that way this year at all. 2022 has been pretty dry, only a half an inch of rain so far. National Weather Service just announced we'll have a more active monsoon season, but it's not looking like it so far. March has only had 0.15 of an inch of rain, much below average for this time of year that we're used to, for the month of March at least. The next 3 days, starting April on Friday, 86 degrees, 87 on Saturday, Sunday and Monday, a low pressure system enters. We'll have more breezy conditions because of it. But look at Tuesday, back into those 90s, and this time next week, we'll be back into the mid 90s. Spring training ends in less than a week. Make sure to catch a baseball game while you can. In the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Peyton Major.
I'm Zachary Larson. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Asu Football is back amidst a host of changes. We'll give you a peek at what's new next.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities. How do you think that, as the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives?
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Zachary Larson, and this is your Cronkite Sports Report. The Suns are headed to their second to last away series starting tonight against the Golden State Warriors. The Suns are 1-2 against them as they hope to split the series. Even though the Suns have the best record in the league, they continue to tweak their roster. They recently added Gabriel Lundberg, who was officially put on the active roster and could play in his first NBA game tonight. Lundberg was signed on March 12th, becoming the first Danish basketball player to join an NBA team. ASU is holding spring football practice, and while the Sun Devils saw 5 coaches lead the program recently, several familiar faces remain. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Rawls takes a look at how the defense is sticking together.
Arizona State football experienced drastic changes to the coaching staff this offseason. Both the offensive and defensive coordinators resigned amid the NCAA investigation into recruiting violations by the program. A total of 5 coaches left, but defensive line coach Robert Rodriguez remains a stable presence.
I need to be the best version of myself and do whatever we can do for this defense and for this football team. But if our reputation isn't that within these walls, then we got a lot of work to do.
Despite a turnover in coaches, the team is hiring from within. The new defensive coordinator, Donnie Henderson, served as the defensive backs coach. And the defensive line coaching staff got a new addition in Shannon Foreman.
Anybody who's a Sun Devil should be fired up that Shannon Foreman's also a Sun Devil. That's the kind of people you want associated with your brand, with your university.
They always pitch in to help me, even Shannon. So Shannon is now like one of the D-line coaches now too, so it's good to still have him around. He helped me a lot last year.
Coach Rodriguez is no stranger to change and is not worried about this past off season that shook up the program.
I've coached for 3 different coordinators, and each time it motivates you and fires you up to prove to that coordinator, hey, you can depend on me and my group, and we're going to do a good job for you.
Despite what has been a coaching staff carousel here at ASU, Coach Rodriguez is entering his third season with the Sun Devils. It won't be too much longer for the team to be put to the test, as the Maroon and Gold game will be played right here in Sun Devil Stadium on April 9th. From Tempe, Tyler Rolfs, Cronkite News.
And in other ASU news, star women's basketball guard Tay Hansen has entered the transfer portal. Hansen played for 4 seasons under former head coach Charlie Turner Thorne, but will now seek other opportunities. And on the baseball field, GCU pitcher Carter Young took a no-hitter into the 6th inning against 14th-ranked Arizona. But the Lopes ended up falling to the Wildcats 5-3. The Coyotes are looking to get a state law amended. When sports betting was legalized last September, professional sports teams were allowed to run mobile betting operations in arenas seating more than 10,000 people. Now, with a smaller home on the horizon, the Coyotes want to get that changed. Their new temporary home in Tempe will see a maximum of 5,000 fans, making them ineligible to run in-stadium betting. They introduced the measure last night against opposition from the Arizona Indian Gaming Association. College golf's regular season is coming to a close as teams get set to potentially play in the NCAA tournament. But as Cronkite News reporter Ashley Engel tells us, some are preparing for the biggest tournament of their amateur golf careers.
When one thinks of Augusta, they may think of the Masters. But what Arizona State women's golfers Ashley Menny and Alexandra Fursterling think of is playing at the Augusta Women's Amateur on the unforgettable course.
It's a really great opportunity to actually go there and experience the whole situation.
Fursterling has been dreaming of playing at Augusta for as long as she can remember. Finding out that she achieved her goal to play in the ANWA was the highlight of her year.
I worked towards that goal and I'm happy that I could achieve it.
Alongside the senior, Ashley Menny will be by her side teeing it up in Georgia, with this being her second year as a Sun Devil golfer. With the selection pool being small, Menny was excited to know she would turn her dream into a reality this early in her amateur career.
With this being both Menny and Fursterling's first time heading to Augusta, the two are glad that they have one another to cheer each other on. One swing. At a time. It's nice to have someone that you can definitely rely and count on in the field with you. It's going to be fun. We're definitely going to have a great experience together for sure.
The ANWA is no stranger to the Sun Devil golf team, as they have sent other players to Augusta before. With the ANWA being right before conference play and the NCAA National Championship, Coach Farkay wants Menny and Fursterling to focus on Augusta.
Enjoy every minute, because even just, it really is the one rare occasion where really just being invited and playing is one of the coolest things ever that they will have in their resume for the rest of their lives.
With the players' hard work paying off, both Menny and Fursterling will have a terrific experience at Augusta. In Tempe, Ashley Engel, Cronkite News.
The two tee off at Augusta tomorrow. That's all for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Mia.
NASA's Hubble Space Telescope has established an extraordinary new benchmark billions of light years away. How this new discovery brings new understanding to the far reaches of the galaxy.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
The Hubble Space Telescope has glimpsed the most single-distant star it's ever observed, glimmering 28 billion light-years away. Astronomers have nicknamed the star Arundel, meaning morning star or rising light. It is the farthest detection of a star yet, from 900 million years after the Big Bang. The star could be between 50 to 500 times more massive than our sun and millions of times brighter. This observation breaks the record set by Hubble in 2018 when it observed a star that existed when the universe was around 4 billion years old. Arundel is so distant that the starlight has taken 12.9 billion years to reach us.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.